Okay, that's working. All right, so let's now share the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, everyone, thank you very much for attending this very first CFOA virtual level 1 certification program. This is new experience for most of us. None of us have done a level 1 via Zoom, so bear with us, I guess. As you can see, we've had a few technical glitches, but should move on smoothly from here. First, we'll start off with a little introduction. I'll let Gary give you some history and knowledge of who and what Kerry Anderson is.
I have been officiating football since 1979. Worked all the levels from Adam all the way up to the pro level. I was fortunate enough to work 18 years in the CFL with 3 Grey Cups. I've been doing instructing for CFOA since 1990. So it's been a lot of fun, and feel free to ask questions, because I think Frank and I will be able to hopefully come up with the right answers for you.
Okay, it's Kerry. I've been officiating. I'm Frank. I've been officiating for about 30. This will be 38 years this year. I've also officiated at all levels of amateur ball. I've lucky enough to work one middle bowl at Vanier, and I think it was 5 Canadian Junior Championships. So we've got, between Kerry and I, we've got a lot of experience. I also presently am director of the CFOA, and I also am the referee in chief for the Regina football officials, and a supervisor and video evaluator for both PFC and Can West. So, as Kerry says, hopefully we've got the knowledge and experience so we can pass something on. And if you've got any questions, feel free to ask them. Okay, the first thing we'll do is, I see everyone has got their microphones muted, so that's great. That helps cut down on feedback while we're talking. One of the things that we will ask you to do is, if you've got questions, you can use the hand up function on Zoom, or it'd be better if you put your question into the chat section, and we'll try to answer them as soon as possible. Okay. And also, there's no such thing as a dumb question, so please feel free to ask. Okay, as you see, we'll do our best to give you the best that you can get, and as you can see, all CFL crews that end up in the Grey Cup are some of the best that you can find. I'd also like to acknowledge, and I think Laurence is part of our session today. She's Darren Hackwood's assistant. And Darren is the director of officiating for the CFL, and Laurent is also the liaison between the CFL and amateur football officials. So it's nice to have the support and the backing of the CFL with us as well. The various topics that we'll cover over the 4 weeks are listed here. There's 12 or 13, sorry, different sections. Today we'll go through the first 7, which are pretty general stuff. And then as we get into some of the more detailed positioning and duties and the mechanics and then rules, they are less topics, but more in depth. So today's agenda, we're going to talk about officiating, the certification program, the job of officials, the quality of a competent official, dress and appearance, skill responsibilities, some of the duties that the line judge and the down judge are responsible for. Now, if any of you have been around some football in the past, you might have heard the term head linesman. in today's world, that doesn't really fly very well. And the headlinesman position has been changed, and that position is now called the downs judge. One of the things you'll notice in some of the documentation and also in the manual that you would have downloaded from the CFOA website, it will talk about both headlinesman and a back judge. The back judge position is still in existence, but is in the throes of being transitioned over to being called the field judge. So if you hear either Carrie or I refer to field judge or back umpire, that is the same position. We're not going to really talk much about the deep position right now, but it does come into play in some of the mechanics and some of the other sessions. Okay, so the structure of football officiating in Canada, everybody's under the umbrella of Football Canada. And then within Football Canada, it's made up of the various different provincial PSOs, such as Football Saskatchewan, Football Alberta, Football Manitoba, the BC Football Association. Then you've also got the CFOA, which is our national governing body for Canadian Football Officials Association. They're all members of Football Canada. Within the CFOA, then we'll have provincial and local football officials associations, such as the Edmonton Football Officials Association, Calgary, Regina, BC, Manitoba. They're both members of the CFOA and also of their local PSO. So we actually have sort of two voices that go all the way up to Football Canada. Okay, the objectives of the certification program. The first thing is for standardization, so that everybody across the country is doing the same thing as far as mechanics, positioning, rules knowledge, interpretation, and rules application. If we've got things standardized, then we don't have, we will make sure that if a player is playing in Regina one week and then playing in BC the next week, they're getting the same type of officiating. It gives everybody national recognition, so that then if you as an official are living in Regina and you move to New Brunswick, your accreditation moves with you. You don't have to try to prove that that you're a level 1 or a level 3 or a level 4 official. It also improves the image of officials. That way then leagues and teams realize that they've got certified, qualified officials that are officiating their games. Also, the training programs and the certification program then just helps improve confidence of you, the official that's on the field. You know you've been trained, you've got the knowledge and the theory behind you. Within the CFOA certification program, there's 4 levels. Okay, the first level, first off, maybe I should step back a little bit. The actual certification program is being revamped to a certain degree. And so some of these levels are in the process of being changed, and the CFOA is working on that. Level 1 has been updated, or more or less updated, and so that's why we're doing that now. And as the rest of them come on stream, we'll be introducing those programs as well. The level 1 session or certification, which we're doing today, is for new officials, and it deals mainly with the sidelines, which is the line judge and the downs judge. And it's working with 3, 4, and 5 official crews, okay, size of a crew. Level 2 is for minor and high school football. Again, dealing with the sidelines, but we also introduce into the sessions the umpire position. And again, it deals with the 3, 4, and 5 official crew size. Level 3 then also introduces the referee and also the field judge into the mix of the crew size. and again, deals with 3, 4, and 5 officials crews. Then level 4 is the introduction of 6 and 7 official crew systems, and those are used mainly at U Sport or CGEP, which is in Quebec, and also the CGFL. The certification requirements are the theory clinics, which is what we're doing today. There's a written exam at the end of the manual that you have. There is an actual exam that you should do, and it's an open book exam, so you can do it at your leisure on your own time, and it's there to learn what's you've been taught and also learn a little bit of the rules. And then there's also an on-field evaluation. Now, because we're doing this via Zoom, it's hard to do any sort of on-field work or on-field evaluation. And so at the end of all of these sessions, we will be passing your names on to the local Football Officials Association, so that then you'll be able to get some actual on-field training and assistance, which will be added on top of what we're doing presently. Okay, so now moving to the section 2, the second section, the job of the official. One of our jobs as officials on the field is to make sure that a smooth flow of the game. We want to make sure that the game is administered fairly and that it's moving at a reasonable pace. I think we've all been to some football games where there's been a million football penalty flags thrown. And when you have those kinds of games, the flow of the game really gets chopped up and it seems like it drags on forever. So hopefully, as officials and the players are willing to play football, we can then keep the game flowing at a reasonable pace, and it all is good for everyone. Then we also want to make sure that the game is played within the rules. And the rules are there to make sure we've got a level playing field for all officials that are working games, or all players that are working games. Officials, we want to have as little interference as possible. Probably the best game that you'll do as an official is the one you'll walk off and you'll say, geez, we didn't have anything to do with there. And that's got to be the best game ever, because then both teams have actually stayed to playing football, doing what they should be doing, and we had have to be policemen or cops out there. And also, one of the big factors that we need to do is be able to make the call. And to be able to make the call, you have to know the rules and understand the rules so that you know what is legal and what's not legal, so that then you can actually make the call. And the whole process of being an official is a development process. The very first time you step on the field as an official, you're not going to know everything. You're not going to know all the rules, not all the idiosyncrasies. But if you know the basics and you then use it as a development thing, and you're going to learn with experience over time. Okay. You're going to learn things such as no harm, no foul, which means that if a holding might happen, but if it's 40 yards away from the play, it really had no effect on the play. So then there's really no need to make that call. So you'll learn with experience when to make a call and when not to make a call. Okay, the roles of the official. We play various different roles on the field. One of them is educator. As officials, we're the only people that are on the field that really know and understand what the rules are. Certainly as a first year official or first time you step on the field, you may not feel confident, but still you're probably going to know the rules better than most of the players and or coaches. Although coaches will tell you that they know the rules better than anybody else, and they can see penalties that are 50 and 90 yards away when you're right there. So the idea of being an educator in the field, you want to educate the players, and I'll say this: the game of football is a game, and it's there for the enjoyment and safety of players. Okay, coaches, officials, fans, they're all secondary. It's all about the players. We want to teach the players how to play the game safely and within the rules. So sometimes, if you're working a peewee or an atom game, sometimes you may not flag a kid that maybe lines up 3/4 of a yard off the line of scrimmage on defense. But after the play, go tell the player you're not giving a full yard. You explain to them what they're doing wrong. Even as you move up into high school games and things like that, lots of times you'll need to explain to a player why they got called for an illegal block or a hold. And for sure, after there's a penalty been called, lots of times coaches are going to ask, what was the call for? You need to educate the coach. We need to be salespeople on the field. We need to sometimes sell our calls. We may see something, we may know it's not right, and it's unfair and not equitable. So you have to be confident and basically sell your call. If you are wishy-washy and not confident about your call, then people are going to question everything you do. And so then it becomes very difficult to actually make calls and be a good official. You want to be honest and have integrity on the field. If you're going to be a good salesperson of a call, you got to be willing to accept the fact that, oops, I made a mistake. And don't be afraid to, at times, tell a coach that, coach, I made a mistake. They will appreciate the fact that we're not all perfect. They're not all perfect. Players are not all perfect. And if you own up to the fact that you made a mistake, they won't like it, but they'll learn to live with it. Certainly don't want to be telling them every play, oops, I made a mistake here, made a mistake there. But when you've got it wrong, don't be afraid to own up to a mistake. Psychologists. We need to be businesslike and professional on the field. Okay. The football community is a pretty small community. So it's not unusual as officials to be on the football field and have your neighbor coaching or Johnny across the street is playing the game. You can't be friends and buddies with teams and coaches and administrators while you're officiating on the field. You need to have a professionalism. You need to be approachable, but you have to be professional about it. You can't just go on and think that you're going to be buddies, and you can't be aloof and arrogant about what you're out there. But you need to be professional. We need to be statesmen. Okay, it's football is not a social gathering, so you got to stick to the basics. You state your opinion or the facts, and don't get into disagreements with coaches and players. But be positive with them. Okay, having a rapport with a coach or a player, there's nothing wrong with it, but don't be their buddy. We'll now move on to some qualities of a competent official. Okay. One of the first things is reaction time, and that's speed and recognition of things that are happening on the field. And so one of the things that'll help your reaction time is knowing the rules. Okay. If you know the rules, then you'll be able to react and make the call when you need to. Also, reaction time has to do with physical conditioning. You need to be in shape to be on the field. If you can't move and keep up with the game, it's really hard to be in the right position to make the right call. Excuse me. Reaction time is you can't can't be thinking about, oh, was that a mistake, foul or not? If it's a foul, then you make the call. And as a former CFL official told me one time, what you do is you're watching the play, and as officials, we all react to what's happening on the field. We can't anticipate much. We just have to read and react. But you read the play, you see what happens, you find the ball, and then you make the call. And that's when you throw the flag. All those things happen in a real quick nanoseconds almost, but you'll find that it'll all come together with experience and more reps on the field. You have to have confidence. You have to have some trust in yourself to be on there and know that you can do the job. I mean, in the picture on the screen is Jake Ireland. He's probably one of the best officials that I have ever seen or dealt with, and I always loved working the sidelines when he come to Regina because I learned a lot from just watching what he did. Be consistent, okay? If you're working the sidelines and your yard is 33 inches and not 36 inches, so be it. But make sure it's 33 inches on the first play of the game as it is at the last play of the game. So be consistent. Judgment. Again, it goes back to the situation of did that foul actually have an effect on the play? If it had no effect on the play, then there's no need to call it. We'll have enough penalties to call during a game as it is, so we don't need to call more. But you need to be able to see it and identify it. And after the play, if it had no effect, then let the player know that you saw it and you saw that they were actually infringing on the rules, and that if the play would have come to your side of the field, that would have been a penalty and it would have cost their team. Hustle. There's, as a evaluator and a supervisor, there's nothing I hate more than watching a guy that's lollygagging or an official lollygagging on the field, not hustling. You don't have to be able to run a 9.8 100-yard dash, but you need to be able to make sure you're in the right position at the right time. So hustle, and also after the play, get back and start getting set for the next play. The last play is over, so move on to the next one. So, but you hustle. Don't be walking on the football field. If you're hustling, you're going to show that you've got some desire to be out there.
Just to back up what Frank
Sure.
was talking about, along with that hustle, please don't put your hands in your pocket. Again, it portrays an image of laziness or saunters around. And I'm like Frank. Officials that hustle attract my attention. The lazy officials with the hands in the pocket that saunter around, I lose interest when I'm scouting for the higher levels. So just wanted to echo that what Frank was just saying.
Yeah, and that all goes back to just if you're going to be an official, then look like an official and be on top of things.
We got a question, Frank, and it's a great question. Lee asked on not calling a penalty. That gets thrown out if it's a dangerous play, right? Involving player safety. Absolutely right. Anything involving player safeties, URs, yeah, you got to make the calls on the URs, the types of penalties that involve player safety. Great question, Lee.
Yeah, and further to that, and we'll get into it later in one of the other sessions about rules, but rules are broken down into three categories. One are basically administrative calls, and those are your 5-yard penalties. Then you've got your unfair advantage penalties, which are your 10-yard penalties, such things as holding. And then you've got your major fouls, which would be unnecessary roughness and rough play type calls. Anything that's a major foul, there's no decision making there. Those have to be called. That's player safety, and there's no exemptions for that. So that leads us into the next part of being decisive. When you decide that you're going to make a call, make sure that you make the call. Another thing that drives me nuts when I'm watching officials, they throw their flag to indicate they've got a foul, but they throw it in such a manner that nobody on the field even knows that there was a penalty. Be decisive. Be involved in the game. Don't be second wishy-washy. Okay. Then moving on to, we have to have courage on the field. It might sound unusual, but courage is a huge part of what we do on the field. You're the official at the goal line. It's a last play of the game, of a game that's going to determine who makes the playoffs. You have to determine whether or not the ball carrier got into the end zone. You have to have a lot of courage to make that call, especially if it happens to be against the home team or the most popular team. You're going to take some criticism for it, but you have to have the courage to make those calls. Be objective. There's no place in officiating for favoritism. You don't care who the teams are. There's a dark colored jersey and a light colored jersey out there, and who wins. That's based on what the players do on the field. So you got to be objective. I know over my years of officiating, I've come home after lots and lots of games, and my wife has said, "Who's won?" And I have to go, I'm not sure, because I don't really care what the score is. It's play by play that you deal with, and so and who's the winner and loser is irrelevant to us lots of times. You want to have some optimism and have a good rapport. Being optimist, being positive on the football field. I know, I was working a Can West playoff game as referee on a first weekend in November in Saskatoon one year, and it was a beautiful day, sunshine, probably 5 or 6 above. I know Carrie would be dying in that kind of weather, but we're out there in our short sleeves. It was a beautiful day. At halftime, we're waiting for the captains to come out, and one of the team captains was there already, and I was joking with our umpire about how great a day it is. We were laughing and smiling and what have you, and the team captain said, I've never seen officials enjoy the game as much as you guys. You need to enjoy it. It's a game. Let's be there, be positive. Let's have fun. Rules knowledge. The next is so important. So important. In my mind, there's really 3 things involved in being a good official. One is rules knowledge. If you don't know the rules, you can't make the call. The second thing is hustle or mechanics. Being in the right place at the right time will give you the opportunity to make the right call. And third is hustle and looking like you want to be there and be part of it. So rules knowledge. I can't stress that enough. And I don't know if you've got a rule book. There's a brand new rule book that's being printed. Will be out, I understand, probably the 1st of May. You'll be able to obtain that from your local football association. If not, there'll probably be a copy posted on the CFOA website. So get your rule book, spend time reading it. It's not the easiest book in the world to read and understand, but you got to spend time with it, and you'll learn a lot of stuff from working with other officials too. Again, being aware of what's going on in the field, the timing of the game situations. Is it close? Is it a situation where you might have a short kickoff after a touchdown because the score is close? Is it a situation where it's going to be 3rd and 8 and it's late in the game? The team may be gambling. They're not likely to punt. So you got to be aware of the situations. Then also presentation. the way you present yourself on the field, and it goes back to some of the other stuff of looking the part and having confidence in yourself. It's just being there and working with your team. You got to realize that on the football field, there's three teams on there. There's the home team, there's the visitors, and there's us as officials. And you have to work as a crew, and we'll get into that when we start talking about mechanics and responsibilities as to who's doing what, when, and how. So the presentation and being part of the crew and helping is really important. Getting ahead as an official. One of the things you probably want to do is set some goals for yourself. Where do you want to be in the next year, or short term, or long term? I mean, I think anybody, a lot of people, when you enter into the officiating, it would be great if we could officiate a CFL game. That would be wonderful, but it doesn't always happen. But if you set goals to be the best official you could be, that is a great goal to have. And you can get a lot of enjoyment of being an official and moving up within the ranks and gaining your certification levels and doing elite football, such as U Sport games or CGFL games. They're very enjoyable to do. Learn from others. You want to learn from others as much as possible. Even when you're watching CFL games on TSN, watch to see what the officials are doing on the field. You'll learn probably more from watching other officials make mistakes, because then you say, that's not the way they taught us in the class. That wasn't done right. And so then you'll learn not to do that. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Questions from your rest of your crew, or after a game, or even at halftime. Ask them what happened, or why did they do this, or how should I do this or do that. Participate, accept challenges. As you move along in your officiating career, somebody's going to come along and offer you the opportunity to work at the next level. Maybe you're going to get the opportunity to move from minor football to, let's say, a high school game. Be willing to accept that challenge. Know it's going to be a challenge. Know it's going to be hard to do, but be willing to accept those challenges and step forward. Study and learn. Again, it goes back to rules knowledge. You got to learn the rules. Don't learn them as the letter of the law, as it's maybe printed in black and white, because the rule book is printed there as a guideline. Officiating is very much a gray area. We will have black on one side and white on the other side, and we're in the middle of gray. So learn as much as you can from the rules, and learn the spirit of the rule. Why is the rule there? What is it trying to tell people? Okay. Then also learn if you've got situations where some of your local associations may have some internal training sessions or film nights or rules nights. Take part in those. Be part of them. Listen, learn from the more experienced officials in your association. Have a positive attitude. You'll be criticized lots by all sorts of people. It'll be from coaches, for sure. They'll criticize you for making a call or not making a call. You'll get criticized by supervisors, and you may even get criticized by co-workers or neighbors, because their son or daughter were playing the game the night before, and the next day at work they're going to say, "Why did you make that call?" But be positive. They are looking at it from a totally different perspective. You're coming from a very objective point of view, and it's equal for both sides. You're not there just supporting one team or another. So, but be positive and look at things as with the glass half full. Uh, there's so many things that can be negative in society and everything else. But if you see the glass half full, and even if you're not getting the opportunity you think you should be, just keep working hard. They'll come. I can guarantee you they'll come.
One thing for Frank there, when he talks about watching other officials, if you have the opportunity to get an assignment working the stick crew for a junior or a university game, that's an excellent place to watch other officials. In BC, our game supervisors have no problem allowing officials to sit with us when we're watching a junior game out here. So you can see what the game supervisor's watching at the higher levels, and you can ask. A lot of our supervisors are good for taking questions and answering questions. So that's another learning tool when you're watching other officials. So if you have that opportunity to do that, feel free to take that, because it's a good, like Frank says, watching other officials is a great way to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. And even as Kerry says, like in junior or Can West games, being part of the stick crew in the dressing rooms afterwards, listening to the debrief and the discussion of the supervisor with the actual on-field officials as to what happened on certain plays, you can learn a lot from there too. The oops, sorry. Okay. Looking at some of the things that make an ideal official, you need to be in condition. You need to be physically fit, okay, just to keep up with the pace of the game. Certainly, as you move up the ranks and you get into high school and junior and Can West games, the speed of the game is fast. You got to be able to move. Rules knowledge. Again, I can't emphasize it enough. Rules, rules, rules. Learn them. Okay. Again, not the letter of the law, but the intent and the spirit of the law. Okay. Be in the right place at the right time. That's mechanics. And we'll talk about mechanics in one of the other sessions coming up in the future sessions. But mechanics is huge. It's our teamwork. It's our playbook, so to speak, comparing it to a team that's on the field. Use criticism to improve. Okay, I think I can speak for Kerry and his supervisors in BC, and I know in Saskatchewan, and the ones that I do know in Manitoba and Alberta, they are all there. Certainly, they'll give criticism, but it's constructive criticism. They want you all to succeed and be better. They want you to be the best on the field that you can possibly be. Have high personal integrity. You know, it's an important job being an official, and people look up to you. You're going to get criticized. You're going to get bad mouth, but in the end, they look up to you and they respect you. So be out there and show that you belong. Don't walk away from the tough calls. Don't just turn your head and say, geez, I don't know about this. I'm not going to make a call. Well, by not making a call, you've made a call, and that's not necessarily the right thing to do. So just make sure you're in the right place and you know the rules. You're going to make the call and make the tough ones. Judgment, common sense. Okay, common sense helps immensely when we're living in our gray world of officiating. Common sense, common sense, common sense, because not the rule book doesn't cover everything that a play can hand you on the field. Things are going to happen on the field that are going to be wild and bizarre, and you're just going to have to wing it and go with it. So be ready to react to almost anything. Be consistent. Okay. Again, coaches will coach to the rules that are applied on the field. So if you change how you are ruling holding or offsides or illegal procedures from play to play and are inconsistent on things, they're going to go nuts, and you don't need that. If you're consistent all the time, they'll live with it. They may not like it, but they'll live with it, and they can then teach their players to also play within those rules that you're applying. But be consistent. There's no such thing as you. We've all heard, especially in hockey and hockey playoffs, and I don't think it happens, but you hear announcers talking about it. Well, they put their whistles away. Well, there's no such thing in football. A penalty in the first quarter is a penalty in the fourth quarter. So don't change your standards. Okay. Uh, Next section is appearance and uniform. Okay, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. We'll let your local association talk to this probably a little bit more, and we'll let you know what you need. But basically, the things that you need is a jersey. There's with your number on the back, black pants with a white stripe, as you see the official in the picture. You're going to need a whistle. The recommended whistle is a Fox 40. It's a P-less whistle. They're easy to use, and in Western Canada, or at least some of the provinces of Western Canada, anyways, late November the games get pretty cold, and if you happen to have a P whistle, they'll freeze up and they're useless to you. You're going to want you need some good shoes. Okay. I see there's a question there, Carrie.
Yeah, they're just asking if anyone has used the Fox mask whistle combo that Honix carries. I'm not even familiar with it, so unless somebody else can shed some light on it, haven't seen it, haven't used it.
I've heard about it. I haven't used it myself. So it's something that you may again probably need to talk to your local association. I mean, this world of COVID that we're living in, who knows what we're going to have for football this year and what our requirements are going to be. So, but we may have to learn how to use such a thing. But anyways, you're going to want a good pair of shoes. Okay, primarily black, as mostly black. If you get some white on it, that's fine. You don't necessarily want a purple or a pink shoe. You want black with black laces. Some officials, depending on the type of field that they're working on, if you're working on a lot of natural grass fields, you're going to probably want one pair type of shoe with some sort of a cleat in it. If you're working mostly on turf fields, you can probably get away with more of a runner type bottom shoe. So you might want to talk to your local association and get some feel for that. Black socks recommended as well, and the specific requirements you'll get as to what's needed, as well as a red flag or orange flag, I should say, that most of the stuff you can all get through your own local association or through Honings is the best supplier. Some of the things such as arrival, when to arrive for a game. It's hard to say. I mean, most of us all have jobs that we do. So if you've got a 5 o'clock start for a football game, it's hard to get there much before start of the game. But you want to get to the field enough time to allow you to get ready, to change into your uniform. If you've had, let's say, a stressful day at work, you want to get there to sort of let your mind clear a little bit and get familiar, get your head back into football. Some leagues have certain different requirements depending on the league you're working. Some of the minor leagues only play 6 or 9-a-side football, not 12-a-side football. So there's some different idiosyncrasies to those types of games. So you want to be there enough time so that you can, oh yeah, this is going to be a 9-a-side game. So you get there. And then also just to get there to discuss certain things with your crew for the day. Make sure to check the field conditions. If it's you're on a natural turf field, and it's been raining for the last 4 days. It might be nice today, but there may be puddles on the field. So you want to be there enough time to check to see what the field conditions are.
This follow up what Frank was talking. One of the things that happens quite frequently is officials don't do a quick walkthrough prior to the game start just to see if there's obstacles. I would say 3 to 4 times a year, I've had to stop games as a supervisor and go or observer come down and says, "Hey, you guys didn't do an inspection of the field. You got soccer nets in the end zone." They go, "Oh, wow, you're right." And then they got to go move the soccer nets. Soccer nets tend to be probably one of the more frequent obstructions that you're going to have to move off a field because football shares with soccer. So do a quick, like Frank was saying, do a quick inspection of the field and remove any obstacles. And for grass fields, there's also the chance that there could be animal feces. So you want to get that removed too. So get to your park early, do a quick run through, take a quick inspection of the field for things that might be needing fixing.
Okay. One of the other things, as far as field inspection is concerned, we want to make sure that in Saskatchewan and the prairie provinces, you want to look, especially in rural areas, watch out for gopher holes too, and depressions in natural fields. So some skills and responsibilities, use of the whistle. You only blow your whistle to stop the play, okay? And when you do blow your whistle, you want it to be a quick, loud, sharp blow. You don't want to be a weak whistle. And only see the ball when you're blowing the play dead. You don't want to all of a sudden blow your whistle and then see the ball rolling away from the players in a fumble. The use of the flag. You want to use the flag to indicate a foul. And you want to throw the flag in the air or to the spot where the ball is at the time. And no whistles, no whistle until the play is dead. Okay. Signals. Okay, we'll get into some of those as we get into some more of the mechanics, but be deliberate and precise. Okay, make sure your timeout signals are clear, especially for places where you might have inexperienced timekeepers, so that they can see that you're waving timeout to stop the clock. Incomplete passes, touchdown signals. Be decisive. Be authoritative about it. And then work as a team when you're relaying the ball. Use the shuttle system. Use and work with the rest of the crew. Throw the ball underhand. Don't try to throw a 40-yard pass across the field overhand. I'll maybe turn things over to Kerry now for a bit and let him talk to some of the officiating crew and some of the responsibilities.
Okay, and you're going to control the slides for me, right?
I will. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So, so chances are your first couple of seasons you're going to work as 4-person crews. There may be the odd time where you're in 3-person crews, but for the most part, you're going to be working 4-person crews and probably some 5-person crews. Again, as football's become more complicated, more complex with more interesting plays, there's more passing. It's been felt probably throughout most of the country that 4- and 5-person crews is probably the best to go. So you're going to have your referee, your umpire, and then for the 4-person crews, you're going to have the down judge who's going to control the stick crew and the line judge directly across from the down judge. And then 5-person crew, you're going to be adding the man in the middle further on down the field than the umpire, which is going to be the field judge / back umpire. Okay, Frank. Each official is equally important in the conduct of the game and calls for penalties in their zone. One official doesn't have any more power than the other. In fact, as the line of scrimmage where you're starting out with, you probably make more decisions, pre-snap decisions than any other official on the field, because there's just so many things for you to do. And we'll talk at the later sessions about some of those decisions. But know your position. Today's focus is primarily on the general skills and the line of scrimmage officials. And most of what you're going to see coming up is going to be 5 official crews. So down judge, you're on the line of scrimmage with the stick crew. The line judge, you're opposite of the down judge. The referee works behind the offense, and the umpire works behind the team, the defensive team. And the back umpire / field judge is in the middle in the defensive backfield, probably 18 to 20 yards downfield. Most amateur community benches are usually on the same side. You will have some divisions that the benches are on opposite sides. Your hash marks are 24 yards in from the sideline. The goal posts have to be padded. You cannot start the game without them. Also, any light posts that are close to the field also have to be padded as well. So when you're doing your field inspection, make sure those two things are padded. The dead ball line in most fields is 20 yards back from the goal line. Some of the shorter fields, it might be 15 or 18, but that's, again, some of the modifications you can talk about with your crew. If you're at a park where the end zones are a little bit shorter. Sometimes you will get flexible markers at the goalpost intersections between the goal line and the sidelines. Fields with tracks around them, the dead ball line might be shorter. You might have a curved end zone, and those should be properly marked as well. Sidelines are marked and clearly visible. Next one, Frank. And this picture will just kind of demonstrates where everything is. You got stripes every 5 yards. Your hash marks are 24 yards in. Your flexible marker at the goal line. And the field markers should be placed out of bounds a minimum 5 yards away. I can't tell you how many times I've been at fields where they place that marker, the goal, the 10-yard line, right on the sideline. That's a tripping hazard for you guys. You need room to work. So make sure that those markers, those field markers, are a minimum 5 yards away so you've got room to work, right? Player inspection. We don't want you lining up players and inspecting them, but take a quick visual. Make sure all that mandatory equipment's there. The soft knee pads. A lot of players hate knee pads, and they try to get away with not wearing them. Thigh guards, hip pads, tailbone protector is another one that players don't like, and they tend to forget to wear them. So just a quick visual. Shoulder pads, they got to have. Mouth guards, they got to have mouth guards. The exception that they changed, they used to be always attached. Now I believe the lower divisions still have to have it attached, unless they have braces and have a special note from a dentist allowing just the inside oral one. But a lot of the lower divisions still have mandatory attachments of the mouth guard. So again, check with your local officials association and see what the policy is for your province. Check for cast. If you see someone with the cast, you might want to even go over there, just check and make sure it's padded. Tinted visors are not allowed. If you have any questions or you're not sure, go let the referee know. Say, hey, that player, I don't know if that cast is padded enough. Help me out. Help me check this out again. So do that. Mouth guard got to be worn unless it's jolted loose by contact. Again, preventive officiating. If you see mouth guard dangling, call the player, hey, 46, get your mouth guard in. Pre-game meeting for the down judge. Meet with your stick crew. Go over the down box, what they're doing, how they take their signals to change downs. Talk to them about doing measurements. And I think we'll be touching on that a little bit later. Report back any field conditions that are unusual. The umpire and referee, after their meetings with the coaches, will review special plays or numbering problems. The umpire will provide numbers of captains, kickers, punters, holders, and the referee will provide direction to deal with any concerns that may arise. Again, pregame, get yourself ready. Be ready for the pregame know your pregame protocol, whose captains you're bringing over. Perfect, good timing, Frank. Captains, the down judge will be getting the home team captains. The line judge will be getting the visiting team captains for your coin toss and for the resumption of the third quarter as well. During the game, down judge will count the home team players. Line judge will count the visiting team players. Yep. And then the Section 6 line judge, just make sure the lines are correct and the posts are where they need to be. Line judge, get the game balls, find the kicking tees. I know in BC we have game commissioners for all levels of game. Usually we get the game balls and the kicking tees, the platforms for converts, and those we all give to the game commissioners. And when they're required, the teams have been conditioned to know where to find all the kicking tees and platforms if they don't have them themselves personally. Line judge, maintain bench and sideline areas. You need the sideline to work. You don't want to be bumping into players, bumping into coaches. So if they're crowding you, shoo them back. Guys, sideline. I need the sideline, guys. I need the sidelines, and just keep nagging them back. Also, line judge, make sure the down box is correct. Sometimes the down judge has signaled for them to change to the next down, and maybe he's not paying attention. So if the down box isn't correct, you may have to kill the play and get the down judge to make it correct. Everybody, not just the line judge, everybody has to assist with penalty yardage. If the referee makes a signal 5 yards, we got to make sure we mark off 5 yards, not 7 yards. So everybody's responsible for marking off the penalty. And communicate with the coaches. Quite often in the lower levels, they don't have microphones. So if you hear the referee offside, blue number 5, you might go, Coach Blue, it was this number for the penalty. Down judge is responsible for the supervision of the stick crew, the down box, the stick people. Check the sticks prior to the game. Make sure that they're 10 yards. Quite frequently, you'll find that you might come across chains that have been broken or they're clipped incorrectly, and you need to correct it. Make sure you have an old lace in your pocket, just in case the chain breaks, or you have to fix the chain, or you have to make the yardage correct. I've always got a pair of old laces in case I have to do a quick repair job. You've got to keep an accurate count of the downs to assist the referee. Be ready for measurements, and make sure you know how to move the sticks at the end of the first and third quarters if it's not a first down.
Further to that, Kerry,
Yep.
a lot of the stick crews at amateur games are parents from various different teams, and so it's important to talk to them about their responsibilities, and so they don't get all caught up in watching the game and forget that they do have responsibilities on the field as well.
If both benches are on the same side of the field, the sticks will be located on the opposite side. If the team benches are on opposite side of the fields, for the first half, you start the sticks on the home team's side. For the second half, they get located on the visiting team side of the field. Advise the crew to be aware of the play. Drop the sticks when play is near. It's for their safety and the player safety as well. They got to be impartial and refrain from comments to teams and officials. They are part of the officiating team. And they got to hustle. We want to keep the game moving. So the stick crew does have an impact on the pace of the game. So again, check the chains, make sure they're the correct distance. It's 10 yards. Make sure the down box can flip to 1, 2, and 3. There are some areas that do play a 4-down Canadian. I know a lot of Quebec and parts of Ontario do that. So if make sure if you're playing in a 4th down league that there's a fourth down on the down box.
Plus, a lot of the downs boxes and equipment are bought from U.S. manufacturers, and they come preset with a 4th down in them. So you just got to make sure that the downs box knows not to go to 4th down.
Yeah, we've had that happen a few times.
Kerry, we've got a question. The play goes out of bounds on the line judge side of the field. The down judge should never blow the whistle, and that's correct. It's way too it's 65 yards away. That's not going to be your responsibility to be watching where the play goes dead. So it would only be the line judge that would be blowing that play dead.
Yeah, we don't want to echo whistles or backup whistles. That's a dangerous, bad habit to avoid. For minor league, community, high school, clip only for measurements, and you want to put the clip on the back of the 5-yard stripe closest to the back stick. So if your stick is on the, say the back stick is on the 9-yard line and the front stick is on the 19-yard line, you're clipping a measurement, you want to clip on the 10-yard line. Junior football and Canada West, because it's usually you have other officials working the chains, they clip every first down so that the clip's there in case they have to drop sticks and reposition. It's easy to put that clip, find the clip where you're at. So movement of the stick crew, down judge ensures the yardsticks are placed properly under the direction of the referee. The stick crew and down person must be aware if a penalty flag has been thrown on the play. If a penalty flag has been thrown, make sure the sticks do not move. If no penalty, the down person's wait until the play is whistled dead and the down judge indicates the location of the next down. And one of the things that I add in my pre-game with the stick crew, quite not often, but there is the odd time the referee will signal first down unaware that there's another penalty. So I always tell the stick crew to holler at me and go, "Hey, Kerry, the referee wants us to move. There's a flag down. Do you really want me to move?" And then I always say, "No, stay put." So in your pregame with the stick crew, tell them flag down, never move until it's confirmed. Down box changes after the referee signaled next down, relayed by the down judge. After each play, the down box is placed in line with the forward point or nose of the ball. Down judges, you can help this along by putting your foot down once the umpire places the ball down. If the line judge marked it, the umpire puts it down, you can help with your down box, down box, put your foot down, say, "Hey, go take it off my foot." Again, all crew members ensure that the down showing is accurate. The yardsticks move only when the first down is achieved. On 1st and 10, down box and back stick are at the same spot. And a little picky thing, make sure that the down box is in front of the back chain so that the benches can see the number. Sometimes if the chains are the same height as the down box and the down box is behind the back chain, you go like, "Oh, is that a 1? Is that a 2? What is that?" So when a measurement is requested, the down judge will tell the downs box person not to move. They must stay at the previous line of scrimmage. Place the clip on the first 5-yard stripe closest to the rear picket, which we talked about a little bit earlier. Instruct the rear stick person to pick up the clip and hold it in their hand when the yardsticks are taken on the field. Tell stick holders to wait until you have marked the location of the forward stick with your foot and tell them to proceed. Now, in some areas, your stick crew are not very good, and you might check with your local association because they might modify this mechanic. A lot of places that I know of, they want the down judge to bring the clip in because the people doing the sticks are not the greatest. So check with your local association on how they want measurements done, but that's what we have in our mechanics manual. Moving sticks at the end of the first and third quarter. Confirm the location, down, and distance. If you've got a card or a piece of paper, write that down just in case there's an error and you've got to fix it later. Have the downs person change to the next down. Now place the clip on the line nearest the rear stick, the stripe on the line nearest the rear stick. Have the stick crew pick up the clip and move ahead of the forward stick holder and proceed downfield. Again, check your local association. They might want the down judge to do that instead because of the quality of the stick crew. Proceed downfield to the location where the clip was placed at the other end of the field. Place the clip down, have the chain stretched out. Ensure the down box is placed at the location of the next down. Verify with the referee, the umpire, and your piece of paper that you're in the right spot. And that looks like that is the end of our session.
Yeah. So some of the next steps are one, we'd like you to go to the website that's listed there, to the locker, and actually register yourself as an official with Football Canada. The next date and time of the session, it'll be next Saturday at 1 o'clock, I guess, Mountain Time. And we'll probably look at maybe extending the time frame to maybe an hour and a half instead of an hour, just to give us a little bit more time to deal with all the questions and everything else. You might want to go back through the manual. Well, speaking of the manual, we finally did get a clean copy of the manual from Football Canada late on Friday. It has now been loaded up onto the CFOA website. So if you would like to, probably go and download that one instead of the homemade version that I had placed there before. And then you'll have a much cleaner copy for use as we move further along in the process. Thank you again, everyone, for attending this session. And is there any questions at this point in time that anybody has or wants to bring up?
Okay, you're the techie guy, Frank. I'm too long to log in, so I'll let you answer that one.
Okay. Let me.
I would just say whoever wants to be this is for, pardon me if I'm not pronouncing it right. I'm going to say Jay and Candace. Just the person that wants to be the official should be the one that just requires to register. If you want to sit with her on this, that's quite all right with us.
So if there's no other questions, thank you very much, and we'll see you next Saturday.
Thank you, everybody, for spending an hour and a quarter with us on a Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.